Good morning to all of you. Previously, we discussed about the coagulants, anticoagulants, and antiplatelet drugs. Today's our topic is fibrinolytic and antifibrinolytic drugs. So let's see the about the fibrinolytic and antifibrinolytics. So fibrinolytics is also called the thrombolytic drug. Okay, and it is the mainly useful for the lysis of the already formed thrombi. So already we have the thrombus formation and we want to lyse this thrombus. So this type of the drug, fibrinolytic drugs, which are the useful mainly in the for the coronary arteries, because we want to break the thrombus in the coronary artery, and ultimately we want to prevent our heart, okay, from the MI. Okay, so it is a fibrinolytic drug. So how it act? So already we have the plasminogen, which is converted into the plasmin by the plasminogen activators. Okay, or there is a intrinsic, there is a tissue plasminogen activator, factor 12a and kallikrein. So these activators, it convert the plasminogen to the plasmin, and this plasmin is binding with the fibrin, which is already present in the at a thrombus. So it degrades the fibrin, and ultimately there is a fibrin fragments, soluble fibrin fragments. So there is a it lysis of the thrombus. Okay, so if we talk about the various where it is most useful, so this fibrinolytic drug or thrombolytic drug, it is useful particularly in the arterial and venous thrombi, and it is more break the venous thrombi and also the recent thrombi. Okay, if we use the in the recent thrombi and later older thrombi, then it is the more useful to break the recent thrombus or recent thrombi. Okay, we have the various drug like the streptokinase, urokinase, alteplase. Okay, it's also called the recombinant tissue plasminogen activator, then tenecteplase, okay, and retaplase. So these are the drugs is streptokinase and urokinase. Streptokinase and urokinase is the older drug, and nowadays it is not much as useful as the alteplase, okay, and tenecteplase because of the some ADR. So let's see the first the streptokinase. This streptokinase, which is obtained from the streptococci. Okay, it is obtained from the streptococci. Okay, so it is obtained from the streptococci. So there is a ADR. Try to remember, there is a it is a antigenic. Okay, and it is a non-specific. This streptococci is, what is the disadvantages of this streptococci? It is a non-specific because it is binding with the fibrin, which is the free fibrin also. Okay, and it also depletes the circulating fibrinogen also. So it depletes the circulating fibrinogen. We want effect at the particular site where is the thrombus. Okay, but we don't want any action at circulating fibrinogen or plasminogen. Okay, so it is binding with the both type of the fibrinogen, so it is not necessary, and there is a more chances of the bleeding. Okay, all the thrombolytic drug having the one ADR common, it is a bleeding or hemorrhages at the different site. And this streptokinase, it is obtained from the streptococci. So there is a ADR, there is a hypersensitivity reaction, and it also there is a formation of the anti-streptococcal antibody. Okay, so if there is an anti-streptococcal antibody, then there we have not used this drug at second time also. Okay, दूसरी बार यूज़ नहीं कर सकते streptokinase. Okay, so nowadays we have the newer drugs, so we are not using this streptokinase and urokinase. Urokinase is the other drug which is also the fibrinolytic or thrombolytic drug, which is obtained from the urine, but nowadays it is produced from the human kidney cells. Okay, and we are not using this urokinase, or it is a laser use than the other drug because of the we have the newer and safer thrombolytic drugs. Okay, so newer drug, it is a alteplase. Okay, LTPLS or the recombinant tissue plasminogen activator. Earlier it is also called the tissue type plasminogen activator. Okay, and it is by the recombinant technology. So there is a RTPA. Okay, recombinant tissue plasminogen activator. So what is the more advantage with this LTPLS? It is a lower affinity for the pre-plasminogen, which is seen with the streptokinase. Okay, so it is a more specific to the plasminogen, which is bound to the thrombus. Okay, so it is a highly fibrin specific. Okay, so only it slices the fibrin, not the fibrinogen. Okay, so there is a less chances of the bleeding. There is a less chances of the bleeding with this LTPLS. Okay, and then there is the same ADR with the other ADR like the nausea or any other thing or bleeding, but there is no allergic reaction which is seen with the streptokinase. Another drug, it is a retiplase. Okay, retiplase. It is also the recombinant tissue plasminogen activator. It initiates the fibrinolysis by binding to the fibrin in the clot and ultimately converting the encapsulated plasminogen to the plasmin. Okay, it is a longer acting. Retiplase is a longer acting, and we need only the 2 bolus injection. In LTPlase or recombinant tissue plasminogen activator, we need the more than 2 doses in MI particularly. Okay, but we talk about this retiplase, then it is a 2 bolus injection, 10 unit or 18 milligram. Okay, there is a 10 unit or 18 milligram इंजेक्शन, 2 बोलस इंजेक्शन एट 30 मिनट अपार्ट, मतलब एक इंजेक्शन पहले देना है ओके 80 मिलीग्राम का, देन अल्टीमेटली 30 मिनट के बाद दूसरा 18 मिलीग्राम का डोज देना है. सो इट इज़ ओनली द 2 बोलस इंजेक्शन विच इज़ गुड in the retiplase. Then tenecteplase. This tenecteplase, it is an expensive drug, but it is a main advantage of this tenecteplase. It is a single bolus dose. Okay, it is a single bolus dose, and it also the longer acting. It is a longer acting. It is a single bolus dose, like the 0.5 milligram per kilogram injection over the 10 second. Only single bolus dose is sufficient with this tenecteplase. So it is more useful for us in particular MI. Okay, so let's see the indications or therapeutic uses of this thrombolytic therapy or fibrinolytic drugs. So where it is the most useful, it is a myocardial infarction. Okay, and we see in the myocardial infarction, it is useful in the ST segment elevated MI. Okay, STEMI, ST segment elevation myocardial infarction. So there is it is more useful in the STEMI. It is lesser useful or more disadvantages or more risk of the bleeding in if we are using the unstable angina, if you are using the unstable angina and non-ST segment elevation MI. Okay, so it is a clinical trial. There is a clinical trial. It is about the efficacy. So it is a more efficacious in the ST segment elevated MI. Okay, so we are not using in the unstable angina. Okay, so and where to it is more effective. So it is not contraindicated. So if we give within the 30 minutes of the presentation of the ST segment elevated MI, then it is a good for the patient. Ultimately, we want to break down the thrombus, and we want spare our heart. Okay, so we want to reduce the infarct size, and ultimately we want to prevent the left ventricular dysfunction. Okay, so it is about the various drug in the MI. Okay, so dose of the thrombolytic therapy. So again, it's a single oral dose. Why this tenecteplase is a more useful? Because it's a single IV bolus dose, 0.5 milligram per kilogram. Okay. Then retiplase, there is a 2 dose, 10 milligram over 2 minutes, repeated after the 30 minutes, 2 dose. And there is a LTPlase, there is a 3 dose, 15 milligram initially. There is a bolus. Okay, 50 milligram initially, then 0.75 milligram per kilogram body weight over the 30 minutes, and then 0.5 milligram per kilogram over 1 hour. Okay, so there is a 3 dose, 2 dose and 1 dose. So there is a 10 hectoliters as a single IV bolus dose. Then it is also the useful in the deep vein thrombosis. Deep vein thrombosis like in the hip or in the legs or in the shoulder, there is a preservation of the ultimately venous valve. So we want to reduce the chances of the pulmonary embolism. And if there is a pulmonary embolism, there is a, if in this pulmonary embolism it is a life threatening, then we are using the thrombolytic therapy also. Okay, for the pulmonary embolism we see about the various drug. It is useful as the anticoagulant drug. Okay, anticoagulant drug, we talk about the heparin, we talk about the low molecular weight heparin. Okay, and oral anticoagulant drug like the rivaroxaban. Okay, rivaroxaban, dabigatran, these are the drug for the pulmonary embolism and deep vein thrombosis in the prevention and treatment also. But if the pulmonary embolism there is a life threatening, then we are using this thrombolytic therapy. Then peripheral arterial occlusion or peripheral arterial disease. So ultimately when there is a when there is a surgical thrombectomy, when there is a surgical thrombectomy, it is not possible. Okay, when there is a surgical thrombectomy, it is not possible, then we are giving this thrombolytic therapy. Okay, and particularly in the within the 72 hours. Also it is useful in the acute ischemic stroke. Okay, role of the thrombolytic therapy in the acute ischemic stroke is controversial, but trial of using the thrombolytic in acute ischemic stroke is associated with the increase in the intracardiac hemorrhage and mortality also. But if we use carefully and treated within the 3 hours of the within the 3 hours, then it is a more useful. Okay, and before we start the thrombolytic therapy, we have to rule out the intracranial hemorrhage by the MRI or CT scan. Let's see the contraindication. So contraindication, if there is a prior intracranial hemorrhage or any the cerebral vascular lesion or any other vascular lesion. Okay, there is a intracranial neoplasm, ischemic stroke within 3 months. Okay, if there is a aortic dissections. Okay, so these are the contraindications. Some other contraindications like the if there is any active bleeding disorders. Okay, if there is a peptic ulcer or esophageal varices. Okay, or even if there is a major surgery within some 3 to 4 weeks, then it also the contraindicated. Uncontrolled hypertension, there is a more chances of the hemorrhage, so we not give this thrombolytic therapy. Also in pregnancy, if there is a pregnant woman, then there is chances of the hemorrhage, there is a abortion, so we are not using this thrombolytic therapy. Okay, so it's about the contraindication. So here it's about the uncontrolled hypertension and some trauma, surgery, then we are this drug is a contraindicated. Then let's talk about the antifibrinolytic drug. Okay, so antifibrinolytic, it's a antifibrinolytic, so it's a ultimately when there is a more bleeding, we use this antifibrinolytic drug. Okay, so it is useful in the various hemophilic condition. So sometimes when there is a breakthrough bleeding or after the surgery, during the surgery, if we want to use, then we use the two drug. One drug, it is a epsilon aminocaproic acid, is the EACA. Okay, epsilon aminocaproic acid, but this drug it is not useful nowadays, or we are using laser because of the larger dose. Okay, it needs the larger dose, 5 gram orally 4 to 6 hourly. So this epsilon aminocaproic acid is not useful as much as the tranexamic acid. Okay, so we are using this tranexamic acid than the epsilon aminocaproic acid. Okay, so when to we prefer this drug? It is about the ultimately when there is a bleeding due to the fibrinolytic therapy or in the cardiopulmonary bypass surgery, if there is a tooth extraction and bleeding, or in the tonsillectomy we are using this drug. Particularly in the menorrhagia there is when there is a more bleeding, then we are using the tranexamic acid. Particularly it is due to the intrauterine contraceptive device. Okay, if there is a IUCD related bleeding, then we are using this tranexamic acid. Okay, if there is a epistaxis or the peptic ulcer and recurrent there is a bleeding, then we are using this tranexamic acid, and it's about the dose, it is a 1 gram. Okay, in epsilon aminocaproic acid there is a 5 gram. Here only the 1 gram TDS oral or slow intravenous infusion. So it is about the tranexamic acid. Okay, so if we talk about the ADR, then there is a minor ADR like the nausea and diarrhea, and it also for the control the bleeding. So there is a more chances of the thromboembolic events also. Okay, with this drug EACA and tranexamic acid, there is a chances of the thromboembolic event also. Okay, so there is a more chances of the disturbed color vision also, the allergic reaction, and if we are using the intravenously, then there is a chances of the thrombophlebitis also. Okay, so it is the dose about the 500 milligram. Okay, 500 milligram 6 to 8 hourly, or 0.5 to 1 gram TDS low IV infusion tranexamic acid. So it's a dose about the tranexamic acid. Okay, so today we already learn about the thrombolytic therapy and fibrinolytic therapy. So main in this anticoagulant part, or drugs which are related to the bleeding disorders, we learn about the coagulant drugs. Okay, so we learn about the coagulant drugs, then anticoagulant drugs. In anticoagulant drugs we discuss about the heparin, low molecular weight heparin and other drugs. Okay, orally anticoagulant drug. In oral anticoagulant drug, main three, it's about the warfarin. Okay, warfarin, rivaroxaban, dabigatran. Okay, these are the drugs. Okay, so these are the drugs. Then antiplatelet we learn. Okay, antiplatelet we learn about the it is the useful in the particular arterial disease. Okay, artery related disease, because it's the platelet main role in the artery. Okay, so and if there is a thrombus already formed, then drug which are useful, it's we learn today. Okay, so it is about the streptokinase, urokinase. Okay, reticulase, alteplase and tenecteplase. So these are the drug. It is a fibrinolytics or called the thrombolytic therapy. Okay, so thank you.